What's going on, everybody? Non-TCG here, and I want to talk about booster box prices and some interesting things in the market. But before we do that, I want to touch on a quick follow-up from the video yesterday. So, I mentioned yesterday Prismatic Evolutions ETBs only had like 120 some available, but there's 90 some units selling per day. So if we look here, there's 57 units sold today, the 27th. The price hasn't moved. In fact, the price has come down a little bit. So I've been watching it most of the day, and what's happening is you see all the big guys here at the top, 50,000, 50,000, 25, 25, 50. These guys are just constantly feeding. So I've seen MVP Sports has been low for a while. Now, Devastation, they had 18. They'll sell the 18, then they'll relist another 20 or 25. They've done the same with Surging Sparks. But MVP Sports and Games, they must have some dude who's just like constantly 4, 4, 4, 4. I saw them earlier today with 3, but they're just feeding as much into the market as they can just to dump the product. So, it's somewhat of a misnomer to say there's only 161 on the market. There's 161 listed, but behind that 161, there are probably a couple thousand ETBs that these guys are trying to move out. So, just wanted to bring that up. So, on to the main video, and I went full screen here because there's a lot going on. So hopefully this works and everybody can see my screen. Okay, good. So I want to talk about booster box prices and some interesting things, and I'll go through the Excel sheet here, and then I want to go to TCG Player and kind of show you what I'm seeing. So SV Base, again, we did the video on the 21st. It's basically 8 days later. SV Base is up another $2, 216 available. I should take the quantity down last time. I didn't. I'll keep the quantity here going forward. Paldea Evolve. This one is probably the most interesting on the list. So the 136 in October was after, there was a decent dump into the market. 149. Now it's at 165. There's 165 listed and nothing on Pokemon Center. So H is what's on Pokemon Center. I did check today. This is now a year and a half from its release date. Its release date, I think, was June of 2023. So there may not be any more of this coming. If that's the case, these boxes are going to be $200 probably by the end of January. There's just no volume out there. Obsidian Flames, it's up at 136, which is kind of surprising because, again, I think it's kind of a crappy set relative to the rest. So I'm really surprised to see the price where it's at, and again, a lot of the big players could have eaten up inventory and they're just not listing it, which is artificially understating what supply really is to get the price up. Paradox Rift, 131 up from 123, again 114, and these were available across all distribution in the 90s in October. But now there's only under 93 left. What's interesting here is during the Black Friday Cyber Weekend sale, there was like 600 or 700 listed, and then all of a sudden they came off the market. So I know a bunch of them sold in that weekend, but I think a lot of the supply is just being held back. There's so much demand out there. Everybody's like, hey, let's just be patient, watch the prices come up. Temporal. This one is super, super fascinating. And again, there's nothing for Paradox or Obsidian Flames on Pokemon Center. They're sold out. So Paradox was 122 in October, 134, still 134, 174 available. So that number continues to erode. What's interesting is Pokemon Center is showing 20,000 plus units available. And, my theory is I've mentioned this a couple times. So I think, I know for a fact that when we see these second waves of restocks after release date on products, they do come from Pokemon Center. I know distribution can request items from Pokemon Center. The price is a little bit higher than pre-release pricing, but it can still be had. So the supply chain, the underlying database is all linked between what they have to source for distribution and what they have on the site for retail consumption. So this 20,000 plus, and it's been here for about a month now. Before that, I think it was only like 7,000. This 20,000 plus tells me that they have 20,000 plus boxes. They're ready to stage to send to distribution in the new year. So we'll keep an eye on that one. And that would make sense because we haven't seen a temporal restock Yeah, it's been what, May of 2024, so we're pushing 8 months now, just about 8 months. Yeah, 8 months in January. Twilight, this one is fascinating. So this is actually down a little bit. There was a little bit of product that came in the market here in the end of November. 216 on the market. There was about 800 and some on the market during Cyber Weekend, but there's only 3,300 of these left on Pokemon Center, and they're getting chewed up at about 100 a day. Once we see sub 2,000, sub 1,500, they'll disappear real fast, especially with the price right around Pokemon Center retail. So this is going to be interesting because probably by the end of January, these boxes are going to be in the 180 pluses as well. So you're going to have Paldea that's going to go absolutely batshit crazy, probably north of 200. Twilight Masquerade is going to be 180. And then, we have Stella Crown. And Stella Crown has been kind of the forgotten set, kind of dead money for a little bit here. But it started showing some signs of life in early October. By the end of October, you're 107, 130 in December, 132 December 28th. And I just picked up 100 cases of this just before the spike because I kind of saw the volume drying up. And the quantity on TCG players, 239 boxes. And again, this is just the loose boxes. This doesn't count the case quantities. But this number was 1,700, then 1,600. And what's interesting about Stella Crown is that the daily sales volume has been 20 to 30 boxes since release back in September. So the boxes are selling, the boxes are being ripped. This is probably the absolute last set that's going to get any reprint whatsoever here. Because quite honestly, it didn't even become popular for up until the last month. The cough's back. Great. Having 2 kids in daycare is awesome. 7,400 left on Pokemon Center. Again, there's a couple of these getting eaten up a day, but as this price pushes closer to MSRP and these disappear, I could see Stella Crown pushing $180 to $200 before they get a reprint out because there's just so much stuff they have to reprint. Plus, you have new sets coming out. You have 151 getting printed through the roof, and then now Prismatic Evolutions that they're going to be, money printer go burr. So Surging Sparks, we're actually up at 220 today, which is the first time I've seen sustained $220 pricing. 358 on the market still. We've been in this 210, 215 plateau for a couple weeks now, and really, I think it's similar to what we're seeing with Prismatic, where the big boys are just pushing out a couple boxes at a time, and they're just liquidating everything they have. A, because they have a large profit. B, they're probably assuming at some point there's going to be a reprint coming. But I don't know anything about that. So, okay, let's go to the charts here. We'll just walk through a couple of these real quick. So Paldea evolved. We can see on the 3-month here, this is really where the secondary release came to market. And this became available. I mean, we picked up a bunch of cases at 101, which is absolutely amazing. 377 sold that one day in Cyber Weekend was crazy. And, we can see the prices just continue to run up. So, you're looking at single digit number of sales per day. But if you look here, you're 165, 165, 165. And these are all small quantities. You get down here, getting closer to 170, you have some volume. But quite honestly, you're not going to see, now you're at 190. So it escalates pretty quickly. You're not going to see much of anything get chewed up here until that Pokemon Center volume goes away. Or I'm sorry, that was, we're going to see this actually get chewed up pretty quickly here. 7, 8, 10 boxes a day. And again, I could see this going to $180, $200 very, very, very quickly. And then over 200, we're probably going to see some of that supply coming to market. Let's go to Twilight Masquerade because that's what I was talking about with Pokemon Center. Still having quantity. So what's interesting is this Gamer's Choice, which I'm pretty sure is one of the groups? It is actually not one of the groups that has a bunch of Prismatic Evolutions. So they must have sold out. But these guys just have, 100 boxes listed, and I'm sure it was actually higher than this before. This comes from that last little dump of product from distro. You have 22 here. There's going to be a little bit of churning here, but I mean, once you get through, this 100 or so boxes, now you're above MSRP. So this is going to churn here probably for a couple weeks until we get through the new year and eat through the Pokemon Center supply. And here you can see, here's the max. And then all of a sudden you have a little bit of product coming on the market, and it's eating through it. So Paradox Rift is on the. No, I have Paradox. Let's look at Stellar first, and then we'll wrap this up. So Stellar, now this is absolutely insane. This is from 104 basically straight up, and decent amount of volume here. You're looking at 30, 20, 20, some single digits, but you look at average per day is 30. The last 3 months, it's 29. The last 6 months, it's 36. So this thing has been selling 20 to 30 boxes per day, like clockwork, for 6 months now, which is crazy, to the point where people are just consuming the product. And I think if you look at any of the sets, obviously excluding certain Sparks, this set has been moving the most and the quickest. And you have some volume here, but then next thing you know, you're 135, and then you get into 140, and then there's not much left. But a lot of this pricing I think is just sitting here based on the price of this product has been sitting at 110, 108 to 110, 112 forever. So, all right, and one more. Let's look at Paradox Rift real quick, because this is one that's interesting as well. Because this is the one product where you can still get a little bit of a distro, but similar chart has just been churning up. Last month, I'm not actually sure why this went down, because the restock was kind of back into here. And in fact, you don't even really see it because the restock came right about there. But a lot of the volume, a lot of supply just came off the market. So I mean, you're at 134 straight away. Now you get up to 140, 145. So every single one of these boxes, when we think about Scarlet and Violet, they're all going to be at MSRP very soon. Paradox, Paldea, Stella Crown, Twilight are all going to be $180+ boxes, probably by the end of March. Worst case, I think Paldea is going to be over $200 probably by the end of January. Paldea Evolved. Same with Paradox Rift, I think. Same with Twilight, and Stellar is going to be right behind. There's still a little bit of wood to chop on the inventory, but it's coming. It's coming. Now, Temporal, we're going to see a restock of this coming. And we already have some orders placed with distro. Just said, hey, look, if it comes, give us 100 cases, because we don't have any of it left, and looking forward to it. So anyway, guys, hopefully this was helpful. Again, like, subscribe, join the Discord. All right, guys, have a great night.